After 3 crossover platform fighting games, Jump Superstars, Jump Ultimate Stars, and Battle Stadium Dawn, Shonen Jump decided that enough was enough. They were done with platform games and ready to move into a new genre. And they did just that on March 19th, 2014 with the release of J-Stars Victory Versus, a crossover 3D arena fighting game. But was this formula superior to their previous crossover escapades? Let's find out together as we play through J-Stars Victory Versus. Shonen Jump's previous crossover fighting games were released exclusively in Japan and Japanese, mainly due to complications with licensing in the West. And that's what they did again, at first, with J-Stars Victory Versus. But it seems that they realized they were missing out on a large demographic by not releasing in the West, so they hunkered down and released a special version of the game in Europe and North America a year after the original game's release, titled J-Stars Victory Versus Plus. The game I'm going to be looking at today is specifically J-Stars Victory Versus Plus, because 1, I already own it, and 2, despite the plus at the end of the title, it's exactly the same as the original, except it's in English, and there's one additional game mode. J-Stars Victory Versus released on PS3 and PS Vita, whereas J-Stars Victory Versus Plus released on PS3, PS Vita, and PS4. I played the PS4 version, and you can really tell that it was developed as a PS3 game, but I'll complain about that later. Let's start with an overview of the game. J-Stars Victory Versus Plus opens with what is now a Shonen Jump crossover game staple, a pre-rendered cutscene showcasing the wide variety of characters available. The cutscene is alright. I like the animation style. It's got this cool manga effect that makes it look like a comic come to life. It gives you a good look at the roster and showcases some nice moments between characters. All in all, it's pretty cool. My one problem with this cutscene is that it makes me want a game in this style. That's right. J-Stars doesn't look this cutscene at all. Instead of going with the comic book art style that they showed in this cutscene, they go for this weird realistic hybrid style. It seems as if they wanted to be realistic, then realized that would be stupid, so then they switched to a cartoon style without completely redoing what they'd already done. And like I said before, you can really tell that this game was developed for the PS3. Aside from the art style, the graphics just don't look good. Textures are low quality, the lighting looks really flat, and character animations are stiff. It also doesn't help that the majority of the maps still have that realistic looking art style, and it clashes with the character's hybrid style. Not only do the character animations look really stiff, and play really stiff too. So with that, let's move over to gameplay. J-Stars is a generic 3D arena anime fighting game with, I'd say, about 2 unique quirks that are more annoying than innovative. For starters, the controls and moves are exactly what you would expect. You've got your standard fare movement options, walk, dash, jump, block, and dodge. And you've got the normal assortment of attack options: basic attacks, heavy attacks, 3 specials, guard breaks, wide attacks, awakenings, ultimates, and assists. It's a lot of options, perhaps a couple more than your standard 3D arena fighter, but what specifically holds back J-Stars is its actual arenas. These things are huge. Most 3D arena fighters don't have camera controls, mainly because the stages are small enough that you wouldn't need them. J-Stars does. You can either freely move the camera around or lock onto a specific enemy, and you basically need to have this on at all times. Most stages have buildings that you can destroy and traverse around, so if you want to actually engage with the enemy, then you gotta have your camera locked onto them. The other issue with these large maps is that it takes forever to get to the enemy. Yes, you can dash, but you can barely turn while dashing, so more often than not you have to stop dashing, turn 90 degrees, then start dashing again. Unless you want to crash into a wall or something. The other unique quirk of J-Star's fighting system is the fact that it's a 2v2. This would explain the need for a large map and camera controls, but it's still really dumb. I will admit it's neat to be able to play a fighting game with 2 players at the same time, but at the same time, designing the game around this gameplay formula holds it back severely. When playing alone, you can use a bot as a teammate, and you can turn it into a 1v1, but this option is only available in free battle. Meaning in every other mode, you either have to play with someone else or have a bot teammate. And even when you do play a 1v1, it still feels like the game was designed to be a 2v2, considering the map size and the camera controls. Let's take a break from complaining and talk about the characters you can play as in this game, which is easily this game's strongest aspect. As it is a Shonen Jump crossover game, there are a wide variety of different characters from different manga represented in the game. There are 39 playable characters and 13 support characters. Support characters are used as a third member to the team and can only be used to perform an assist. What I like about this roster is the variety of series, as there are 32 different series represented in the game, and the majority of characters are not just from the big 3, Naruto, Dragon Ball, and One Piece. So let's go over just who those characters are. From Assassination Classroom, there's Koro Sensei, Beelzebub has Tatsumi Oga, Bleach has Ichigo and Aizen, Bobobo has Bobobo, Chinyuki Taro to Ukai na Nakama Tachi has Taro Yamada, Dr. Slump has Arale Norimaki, Dragon Ball has Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza, Fist of the North Star has Kenshiro and Rao, Gintama has Gintoki, Hellteacher Nube has Meisuki Nueno, Hunter x Hunter has Gon and Killua, JoJo's has Jonathan and Joseph, Kochikami has Kankichi Ryotsu, Madaka Box has Madaka Kurokami, Naruto has Naruto, Sasuke, and Madara, One Piece has Luffy, Ace, Hancock, and Akainu, Reborn has Suna Sawada, Rurouni Kenshin has Kenshin and Makoto, Saint Seiya has Pegasus Seiya, Sakigaki Otoguchu, however the hell you pronounce that, has Momotaro Tsurugi, Saiki K has Kusuo Saiki, Totemo Lucky Man has Lucky Man, Toriko has Toriko and Zebra, and finally Yu Yu Hakusho has Yusuke, Hayai, and younger Toguro. Oh, you thought I was done? In terms of support characters, Bleach has Rukia, D. Greyman has Alan Walker, Gintama has Kagura, Haikyuu has Hinata, Hunter x Hunter has Hisoka, Kuroko no Basket has Kuroko, Madaka Box has Misogi Kumagawa, Nero Supernatural Detective has Nero Nogami, Nisekoi has Chitoge Kirisaki, Pyutufugu Jaguar has Jaguar Chunichi, Sagigaki Otokojuku has Hayachi Itajima, Sket Dance has Bosun, Himiko, and Switch as one support character, and finally Talavu has Lala Satalin Devil. Now I'm done. The roster is really good. Of course there are some obvious picks that just had to be there like Naruto, Luffy, and Goku, but what I also like is the lesser known picks like Saiki K and Kochikami. That's what this game really excels at, fan service. Because each character has their own unique abilities and plays pretty differently, so there's bound to be a character for everyone here, not just in terms of likability, but in terms of playstyle too. However, that being said, the fan service can't fix the gameplay, as some characters are more overpowered compared to others, and like I mentioned before, the gameplay itself just isn't very engaging because of the large maps and 2v2 concept. It's fun to mess around with your favorite manga characters and test out their abilities, but aside from that, there's not much to do. Which brings me to game modes. The main game mode here is called J Adventure, which is just a fancy name for story mode. J Adventure is split up into 4 arcs, each of which follows a different group of Shonen Jump characters. For example, the Hope arc follows Naruto, Gon, and Yusuke. This helps pad out the game's runtime, which also means you have to basically play the same story 4 different times in order to fully complete the story. And trust me, you do not want to play this story mode 4 times over. Like most anime game story modes, this one is a half-baked story intermixed with cheap PNG cutscenes and the same fights over and over again. The story here is that heroes from all over Jump World have come together to compete in the Jump Battle Tournament. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You get to sail around on your very own pirate ship where you can gather different fighters to join your team, as well as fight other teams by either engaging with their ship or by accepting and completing missions scattered around the map. And by other teams, I mean NPC teams, not actual players. You can also make upgrades to your ship and level up your fighters, but it doesn't really make any noticeable difference in battle. And that's story mode. In terms of other game modes, you have Victory Road, which is basically just a series of normal fights, Arcade Mode, which is literally just a series of normal fights, Free Battle is just a normal fight, and Online Battle is also just a normal fight. Remember what I said earlier about 1v1s only being available in Free Battle? I meant it. If you want to play online, then you either have to have an AI teammate or get a full lobby of 4 players. There's no 1v1 online mode. And judging by the current player base, I don't think you're going to be able to find a match that fits either option. So what else is there to do? There's the J-Point shop, which you can use to unlock characters and cards with in-game currency. You do only start off with a small selection of characters, but earning the currency needed to unlock new characters can be done in any mode, even free play, so it's really not too difficult to unlock characters. I did also mention cards, which can be used to build decks to power up your characters. I didn't use this feature at all. And the funny thing is, when I was doing research for this script, I didn't find any mention of this feature at all. So take that for what you will. So, that's about it. But what did the general public think about J-Stars? Well, on Metacritic, it's got an average critic score of 61 and an average user score of 6.3 out of 10, which I would actually agree with, just maybe on the lower end, closer to 5 out of 10. The game isn't bad. I'm glad that it was specifically localized in America and Europe. That was definitely a huge bonus. The fan service is great, but that's practically what the game just boils down to. The gameplay is stiff and unbalanced, every game mode is practically the same, the story mode is repetitive, and the graphics are incredibly outdated. If you want to mess around in Free Battle with your favorite anime characters,
and I can see you getting some joy out of this game.
So was the switch from platform fighter to 3D arena fighter worth it? Honestly, I'd say no. If they went with a platform fighter and kept the same character roster and the variety of movesets, then I think this game could have been significantly better. Of course, they would still have to polish the gameplay up and make it more balanced, but at least you wouldn't have the issues that come with the large map and the 2v2s. And on top of that, I really think they should have stuck with the art style that they had in the original cutscene, and I think it also would have lent itself really well to a platform fighter.
In the end, J-Stars is a great piece of fan service, but not so much a great game. But what do you get? When you remove the diverse character roster, develop all characters to feel the same, lean into the ugly realistic art style, create even worse animation, and write an even more convoluted story?
You get a piece of shit. And the topic on my next video in this series, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Later.